Hello everyone, Gen X Fusion here with some more gameplay on Animal Crossing New Horizons. As you can see, it's 8:25 p.m. on Wednesday, July 1st, and it is a clear and beautiful night, and you can see the moon over there off to the right hand side. Ah, man, it's totally beautiful. But just wanted to go ahead and give you some gameplay. So I also promised that I would tell you maybe one or two stories of memories that I have. And I wanted to make sure I got everything out of the way before I shared some of those stories. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and begin right now. And basically, I wanted to share one thing with you. There have been a few changes, but one major change, or rather one pretty major discovery, was a way for me to be able to make some, not quick income because it'll take a few days for it, but I found a way to make a little bit of a profit when it comes to bells. So let me run over here and I can kind of explain it to you and share it with you. So let's see, where is it? Oh my goodness, look at that. Well, let me just go ahead and let's go ahead and do this. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to dig this up. As you all know in a previous video, if you dig up one of these glowing spots, you end up with 1,000 bells, right? Now, you could either bury these bells and it would become a tree, and basically the tree would yield you 3,000 bells, right? So somebody from my YouTube channel made a comment to me, and they said, hey, you know what? If you plant 10,000 bells, when the tree grows, it will yield you 30,000 bells. So that's like a 20,000 bell profit. So I thought, well, I didn't know about that. Let me go ahead and do that. So I did do that, as I'm doing it right now. I'm burying it in a hole. And then let me take my 1,000 bells and put it away in my pocket and everything. Now, let me see if I can find one of my other trees, because I have another tree that I planted over here that basically is a tree that I planted 10,000 bells with. Now, I got my trees marked, and I marked them with a little bit of a hedge so that I would know which trees were the ones that I had 10,000 bells with, that I planted with 10,000 bells. So let me see if I can find that real quick, because I know that I had a few here. This one right here was one of those trees, but as you can see, I already shook the bells off. So, and it did yield 30,000 bells. I was like very impressed and very excited about that. But I'm trying to find one of my other trees to see, and I believe I have one up here somewhere, in which I have a hedge, and it has bells on it. But I don't know. I'm running around aimlessly like a fool, and I don't think I have any more. When I look at it, I don't think I have any more. Maybe I don't have any more. Maybe I used them all already. Oh well. Just when you thought, I guess none of these other trees here I planted with 10,000 bells, and because of that, I can't show you that. I can't show you what I found out. Oh, well, hey, look at that bug. I've never seen that bug before. Let me go ahead and try to catch it real quick. Don't move. Gotcha, buddy. All right, it's a new bug. An earth-boring dung beetle. It's not boring at all. Nice. That's different. I'm gonna have to turn that into Blathers over at the museum. So anyhow, let me get right back. So what will happen is, in a few days, this tree will grow and it will yield me some bells, and it'll give me 30,000 bells. So that is very, very exciting. Now the other thing is that tonight I ran into Celeste, and let me see if I can find her. But I ran into her, and she gave me this card, and it's one of those do-it-yourself cards for crafting, and it's a cancer table. But in order for me to get this cancer table, I got to get star fragments. I need a gold nugget. Actually, I got 2 gold nuggets stored away, and I need a cancer fragment. And I have not seen cancer fragments yet, because I haven't wished upon shooting stars yet for the month of July. And this is the zodiac sign of, or the astrological sign of Cancer. So I haven't done any stargazing yet during this time frame. So I want to be able to do that. But one of the things that I wanted to find out, because I was always thinking, like, how in the world can I predict the weather? Because there were times when I wanted to record some gameplay and I couldn't do it because the moment I get into the game, it's pouring rain, like raining. And so I found out, I kind of jumped on the internet just to kind of find out if there was a simple way of predicting the weather for the next, for the next day. And I came across this article about Animal Crossing New Horizons and a very simple way to predict the weather. And the only thing that you would need is a TV set, believe it or not. Well, I happen to have one. I have a TV set right here inside my little home. So what I do is I go over here inside my house and I go into my bedroom and everything. And then in my bedroom, I have a TV set. Now, I did some rearranging. You all know about this from my last video. And right back up here on my wall is my TV. So what I can do is I can watch this, and during certain times of the day and at night, the news comes on. And on that news, like any other broadcast, the news broadcasts the weather. Can you believe that? So I took a look, I looked it up on the internet, and basically when the news comes on, 15 minutes after the news starts, it goes into the weather forecast. So, for example, for all you morning birds out there, the news usually starts at around 6 or 6:15 in the morning. So by 6:30 a.m., remember this is real time, 6:30 a.m. in the morning, the weather report comes on, the newscast. Now, same thing occurs at 7:30 because it's the 7:30 morning news. And at 7:45, they do a weather broadcast. And it tells you what the weather is going to be, whether it's going to be clear, whether it's going to be cloudy, or if it's going to be raining or whatever. When I watched this yesterday evening, it turned out that it was going to be clear. It was forecasting that it was going to be a clear day and it was going to be a clear night. So that's really awesome. Now, the other thing is that there are other times also. There's the mid-morning or almost the noontime newscast that starts at 11:30, and at 11:45 that's when it does the weather. And then after that there's like the 6 o'clock or the 6:15 news in the early evening, and at 6:30 they broadcast the weather, and then they do it again at 10:15 where there's a newscast, and then at 10:30 they do the weather broadcast on it. So you have different opportunities to be able to predict the weather for the following morning by just watching the news. So I thought that was pretty interesting and very, very clever on Nintendo. It looks like when they developed Animal Crossing, they really, really brought in the details and looked into the details. I would have never thought that they would have done something like this. I mean, I come in and I take a look at this television on the wall and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, it's just some TV variety show or whatever. But I never thought that, oh wow, there would be a newscast and that it actually has a television schedule. That is like a trip, that it has a television schedule, and that really shows how much detail Nintendo put into Animal Crossing New Horizons. So I thought that was really, really cool. Anyways, with that, I'm heading outside now because now, yes folks, it's time. It's story time. So let me go ahead and head over, and I haven't decided if I was going to do 2 stories or if I was going to do 1 story. But I think what I'll do is that I'll just kind of base it on how long this first story takes, and then I'll decide if I want to do a second story. So let's run on over. I'm running on over to the spot. Now, I made a promise to you all that I would tell a memory or tell a story of a memory of something very specific right over here. And I told you all that I had a lot of different memories of this back in the days when I was growing up, and my younger brother and my cousin used to do mobile DJing. Uh, there were school dances and all these different things, all these different events. I got a lot of memories, not just one memory, but a lot of memories regarding this type of setup. Everything from karaoke to, you know, even performing in a band, believe it or not. But this story that I wanted to tell you all, or this specific memory that I had, is something that happened with me when I was 19 years old, or actually 18 years old. Yeah, 19, around 19 years old. And as I'm telling this story, I'm going to go ahead and run around and do some chores so that you just don't look at me standing around. So anyways, this is around, do I want to go and give a year? No, let me just tell you how old I was. I had just graduated from high school. And what had happened was, when I was a senior in high school, I was going steady. I had this girlfriend, and I dated her for like the second half of my senior year. And then after I graduated from high school, she was still in school. And I ended up going to, after you graduate, the first thing that you do is you go to college and everything. And so that's what I did, was I started going to college. And because of that, I didn't get to see her as much. And what happened was, I dated this girl for about 9 months, I think it was. And I got a fossil here. And as always, you think a relationship, when you're that young, you think, oh, it's going to last forever and all this other stuff. Well, yeah, I had that kind of, that young attitude. And it turned out that no, the relationship was not going to last, and we had a breakup. And so we dated a total of 9 months and everything, something like that. And because I was very young, I really did not know how to process a breakup. And it was a very difficult time for me. I was just overwhelmed with a lot of sadness, being heartbroken. And hey, I just realized this is my second tree. There's the tree. See, I planted this tree, and here's the hedge. This is a money tree. This is a bell tree that's going to give me 30,000 bells once it becomes fully grown. That's what I was looking for. It's not even fully grown yet. Okay, anyways, let's get back to the story. Sorry about that. Yes, I must have a condition where I'm getting distracted so easily. So anyways, what happened was, I was going through a serious state of just being depressed and just being overwhelmed with heartbrokenness and very, very sad. And I was like I said, I was only 19 years old, and I didn't know how to navigate that. I didn't necessarily have a mentor or a circle of people, or I didn't feel like I could even talk to like my parents about that, and so that they could help me navigate that. And so it was just a very difficult time. And the thing about it was, is that even though I dated for only 9 months, it took me over a year to finally get over this girl that I had dated for only 9 months in my high school year, my senior year. And that was rough. Okay, wait a minute. Let's find out what Phil wants. He's decided to liquidate some items. Oh no. Oh, I'm glad he's giving me first dibs. A front tie button-down shirt. All right, how much we talking, Phil? You're such a businessman. Or is it a business bird? 1,200. Okay. Well, it says that's way too high. Okay, let's see if I can get it for cheaper. Oh. Okay, 800. Well, thanks, Phil, for bringing it down and giving about 40% off. He just haggled me, trying to get 1,200 bells from me. Wow. Okay, Phil. Thanks a lot, man. I'm sure that the clothing will do me well. Anyways, back to my story. So, and I think while I'm at it, I'm going to go here and collect some shells. Ooh, sandcastle. So I was going through a pretty serious state of just really feeling heartbroken, and I just didn't know how to navigate that. It was just really, really difficult. And what had happened was I had just stopped, going out, and I had a hard time. I didn't. There were times. There was a period of time where I didn't even want to go out and socialize with my friends or hang out with my friends. That's how bad it was. I felt more comfortable just being depressed and being at home and just listening to like slow music, where it talks about just heartbreak and sadness and different things like that. And I'm sure a number of you may have felt that, or maybe you're even going through that right now. So what had happened was, this was into 19, probably almost a portion of 1985. I just told you the year. Now y'all know how old I am. But it was around 1985 that I was still going through this state of depression and just really having a hard time. And my mother grew concerned about me because she was just noticing that I wasn't going out and I wasn't socializing with my friends or as much, and that I was just really just staying home a lot. And that was kind of scary to her. I think that it really concerned her because I remember her just asking me, "Aren't you going to go out? You should go out. You should do something." And I think that she just knew. She just knew that I was just having a hard time. And so this was one Friday night where she just asked me if I was going to do anything, and I told her no. And so then she left me alone. And I think I got to try to clarify things with my mother to find out if she had anything to do with this, what came up next. But what happened was, that night, it was probably around, I don't know, maybe about 7 o'clock, somewhere between 6 and 7:30 or something like that. I received a phone call from my aunt. And now my aunt is, at the time I was 19, and my aunt wasn't that much older than me. She was about, I don't know, maybe about, let's see, my older brother is 6 years older than me, and my aunt, I think, is a little bit older than him. So, she's like in their mid to late 20s. And so my aunt was still like she was like this very hip auntie, one of those hip relatives that you have. And she had called and she had just asked me, "Hey, what do you got planned tonight? What are you doing?" And I told her, "Well, auntie, I'm not going out or anything. I'm just going to stay home." And she, said, "Oh, okay." And so then that's when she said, "Well, how would you like to go dancing tonight?" And one of the things that I liked to do was I did like dancing. I liked going to school dances. I liked going to regular dances, like where I lived and everything. They used to hold these dances where they had a mobile DJ, and you would pay admission to get in, and they would have these dances that go to like midnight. And those are very popular when I was growing up. And so I totally loved to dance. And so when my aunt asked me if I wanted to dance, I go out dancing. At first I was a little hesitant because I wasn't quite sure, like, okay, well, where are we going? I mean, I am only 19 years old. There aren't many places to go to. Most of the places, you got to be 21 and up. And so I kind of mentioned that to her. I was like, "Well, where are we going? Well, what place are we going to go dancing at?" And she told me she goes, "I know this little place out in San Leandro. It's a nice little club and everything where you can dance, and they play all the modern type music. They play dance and club music, and they also play R&B and just different types of soul music, And so I was like, "Oh, okay." And then I asked her, "Well, what about this place? Like, what's the crowd like?" And she told me, "Well, the crowd is good. They're a slightly older crowd. The crowd was basically 30 years old and a little bit older." And she said, "But it's a modern type of crowd and everything. I think you fit in." And I'm like, "I'm 19 years old. I'm going to fit in with an over 30 crowd." And she was like, "Trust me, you know, it's a good little crowd and everything." And I was like, "Well, okay, I might want to do that." But then I asked her, "Okay, so, but it's a club. It's a club. I mean, I'm only 19. How am I going to get in?" And she told me that they allow because they only card you if you're going to buy alcohol at the bar, but they let 18 and over in as long as they don't buy alcohol. So I thought, okay, why not? You know. So I said, okay, so what's the club called? And so she told me that the club was called Bogeys. And so I said, okay, I'll go ahead and do that. I said, yeah, sounds like it would be fun. I would love to go out dancing. So I got myself dressed up, like I usually would to go out dancing at a local nightclub and everything. And went out and I picked my aunt up, and this is when I still had my hot rod. So I picked her up in my hot rod and we drove all the way out to San Leandro, which wasn't very far. It was only about maybe a 15-minute drive from where we lived. And we stopped off, got into the park, pulled into the parking lot, and really one of the first things that I noticed when we got in, we had to pay, and admission was really cheap back then. I mean, it was only about maybe $5, I think, to get in to a club or a dance place or whatever. There was always these cover charges, and then that was an admission price. So paid my $5 and we went in, and the first thing that I noticed is that I know now why they called it Bogeys. The reason why they called it Bogeys was because the place was named after a character that actor Humphrey Bogart starred as. And so that's why they called it Bogeys, because when I walked in, there was this big wall picture of the man himself, Humphrey Bogart. Wearing his really cool hat, his really cool suit and everything with his tie, and it was him dressed in his attire for the movie Casablanca. So I thought that was really cool. And so from there, my aunt and I, we saw the dance floor. It was a nice, fair-sized dance floor. And the first thing I noticed is that, yeah, the crowd is older. They're in their 30s. I mean, what else would a 19-year-old say? Oh, they're young. So, I was like, okay, well, this isn't bad. These people are a little bit older. It's cool. I think while I'm telling this story, ooh, I'm going to wish on some shooting stars. That's cool. So I think I'll do that while I'm telling this story. So we got in and we put our jackets, with the local valet to hold our jackets and everything, and they were playing some really, really great music. It was very modern at the time. It was very modern dance music, and I thought that was really cool. I was like, oh wow, these older people listen to this type of music. Me, kind of an arrogant thinking for a 19-year-old, but they started playing all this music that I liked, all this dance music. And I just remember my aunt and I just danced the night away. We sat down after for a little bit to rest and, get some Coca-Cola to drink to just quench our thirst and everything. But we were like immediately back on the dance floor and we danced the whole night. We didn't get out of Bogeys until well after midnight. And we had a fun time. And I have to admit, when I was dancing and seeing these slightly over 20, over 30 people dancing, I thought, wow, that's pretty cool that, 30-something aged people they go out and they still like to have fun. And they did. They had a lot of fun. And it was during this time that the popular dance that I loved doing was this dance called the prep. Sorry, there's no way to describe it. Probably the only way that you'll be able to see someone even remotely doing the prep is if you watched an old MTV music video. But at the time, one of the songs that I loved to dance to, there's another shooting star, was this song by Jermaine Stewart. And what I'll do is I'll have the song in the link because there are two versions of the song. There is the 45 radio version, which is totally not the version that I like listening to and that I don't like dancing to. And then there was this version that they called the extended version, or the 12-inch dance version, or 12-inch remix version. Wow, look at all them stars. They're just coming through. And that was the song that I did the prep to and really enjoyed dancing to. And like I said, I'll put the link to the song in the description. So if you're interested in hearing what kind of club dance music I like dancing to, you'll be able to hear it if you just click on the link in the description. But I remember that night, I had such a wonderful time. And I think the reason why I share that story is because, like I said, I was going through a time where I went through a breakup and I was having a hard time just really coping, and just couldn't just couldn't turn the corner. And that night when I went out dancing with my aunt, that was kind of a turning point to me, to remind me that, you know what, I was going to be all right, and that life was going to go on and my life would move forward. And it wasn't too long after that night when I went dancing with my aunt that I started to like rebound better, and emotionally I think I just started to do better. And this was like I said, this was in 1985. And so I really credit my aunt for really getting me out of my shell that night. And I think that's what relationships do. You know, whether it's with a family member or if it's with friends or whatever, relationships really do help you, you know, through things. And I don't know if my aunt really knew what she was helping me out with. Maybe she did, maybe she didn't. But I knew at that time that it was a turning point for me, that I could actually finally move on. And it took a long time for me to move on because I was just so young and I didn't know how to basically handle my feelings and emotions at the time. So that's it. That's the main story that I wanted to tell. And I don't know, I just decided to tell it because, I don't know, maybe some of you viewers, you know, have experienced something similar, and maybe you're experiencing something to that effect, you know. And maybe what I share with you will kind of help you to understand that, you know, life does go on. You're going to be okay. You know, yeah, things hurt, you know, feelings you can get hurt, and you can feel heartbreak and you can feel depression, you know, but you will get through it. And sometimes what it just takes is maybe a friend or a relative, you know, to help you, to just give you a little bit of reflection. I learned that stuff now now that I'm older. You know, it's helped me out a lot to mature, you know. But I shared this story with my son earlier today, just so that he could kind of understand, you know, because I know he's in high school right now. He's in the 10th grade, and he's going to experience a whole lot of different things. And I think that I wanted to be able to be there for him, because I know that I didn't necessarily have that, and it wasn't my parents' fault. You know, it's just that that's where life was at the time, and I did not feel like I could share that kind of stuff with my parents, you know. But I'm hoping that in sharing this story with my son, he would feel comfortable with being able to share anything with me if he does experience that kind of stuff. So that's it. So there it is. That's my story. And it's been about 30 minutes and I'm seeing shooting stars all over the place. This is incredible. Look at all these shooting stars. You know, and wow. So I think when I'm looking at that, you know, every time I press the button, I'm able to make a wish. So yeah, you know, wow, look at that. There's more. Look at all them shooting stars. I'm just like, it's incredible. First I go through a drought of not seeing any shooting stars, and now I'm seeing them all over the place, you know. So anyhow, with that, I think another thing. Not too long ago, in this game of Animal Crossing, you know, the birds stopped singing, and I haven't heard them sing in a while, you know. And I think even as I wish upon these stars on Animal Crossing, I think one of the hopes that I have is that maybe I'll be able to hear the birds sing again, even if it is a different type of song. But I won't hold my breath. But I'll also never say never, because you never know. So that's it. It's 8:55. I need to go ahead and I need to dig up some more fossils and shake a few bamboo trees and get some things together, get some resources together. Oh, that's not a fossil, that's a bamboo shoot. So I need to make sure I collect my stuff and get things done, because who knows, maybe I might want to look at a few more shooting stars and wish some more on some shooting stars. Who knows? But I know I got a number of things that I need to get done. So anyways, thank you for joining me in my video, and thank you for listening to my story, and I hope to see you again when I get to share some more stories. I think I shared enough with this one story because it's already been 30 minutes. So thank you again. Please remember to, if you did like the video, make sure that you like it. And if you have any suggestions, please make comments and let me know if you would like to see me do something else. So with that, thank you, and I will see you all next time. Hi viewers, remember to subscribe, like the video, comment, and click on the little bell to receive notifications of future content. Have a good one.